Hi, this is Julia M. Spencer. I'm a real estate advisor, investor, and your number one source for real estate advice online. Welcome to my car, my good old Toyota. Driving around looking at properties again today. Gonna take a break now because I'm super hungry. And I wanted to make this brief video before I got home to talk about a question subscriber had, and it was a tax related question. Now, before I go into, I get a lot of questions related to legal stuff, and also a lot of questions related to tax stuff. Again, I always want to encourage that what I tell you is my opinion and what I know. So I'm not a CPA, I'm not an accountant, I'm not an attorney, I'm not licensed to give you actually advice, but I can just give you my opinion. It's up to you to utilize that or not. I am a real estate investor. I've been doing this for a long time. I've done for many years my own taxes. I still do some of my taxes myself, so I know some of this stuff. So the question that I had was, somebody wanted to know if there's any way to depreciate assets faster on a tax return in order to get more depreciation expenses for a particular year. And specifically they heard of segregation of assets for faster depreciation. And they were asking around, couldn't get any info. So with this little video, I want to answer that question and also kind of go into what that actually means. But what I want to encourage you to go to my website, juliamspencer.com, subscribe to my newsletter there. I'm not sure if you have done so yet, but I have a bunch of audiobooks on my website that I sell. They're not very expensive. It tells you everything and all that you need to know about tax sale foreclosure investing, about how to be a landlord, how to start with real estate investing, what you should get into, what you should know about, and investing for foreigners, things like that. Really cool stuff. Put a lot of work into those audiobooks, so don't forget to go there after you listen to this video and subscribe to my newsletter there. Also send out coupons and also informational stuff periodically where I teach people basically what I know and answer questions like this one. So segregation of assets in order to get bigger and faster depreciation expenses. What does that mean? Well, your biggest asset when you buy a piece of real estate is obviously the piece of real estate. You can depreciate the building over a really long amount of time. I think it's 29 years. I can't remember now. 29 and a half years. So you basically take the amount that you purchased the house for minus the land value, and you divide that by 29 and a half years. That's your depreciation expense for each year that you can take on your tax return. But like say you have a vacation rental, or you have stuff on the property that's not technically part of that building. For example, for real estate investors that have vacation rental businesses like myself, it could be anything that's inside of the building, such as a fridge, a stove, furniture, dishes. Dishes kind of like, that's kind of like a small expense, but like kind of the bigger things that are over $100 or something. So you can actually separate all of those out if you purchase them at the same time as the building, or even if you purchase them later, you can separate them out and basically depreciate them separately from the building. And because all of those assets, like appliances, have much shorter depreciation periods, you get to depreciate them much faster. So for example, and I'm just gonna, because I'm driving, I don't have my actual numbers here, but let's say you have a fridge that costs you $1,000 and you depreciate it over 5 years. So basically you get to depreciate $200 every year on that fridge versus folding that $1,000 into the value of the actual home, the real estate when you bought it, which then has the $1,000 is then depreciated over the 29 and a half years like the rest of the building. So the problems with that are that you actually have to take a very, very detailed inventory. You have to collect values for each one of those assets. You can fair market values if they're used, and values for if they're not used, if they're new, obviously the purchase price, and you have to keep track of that. You have to put that, there's a special place, and for example in TurboTax where you can do that, and it calculates it for you. But if you do taxes by hand, it's a big pain in the behind, so I wouldn't recommend it unless you really think that that's going to be of value to you to get depreciation expenses faster that way. Would probably recommend that if you don't keep the building for very long and you kind of need the expenses for whatever reason, like you have a lot of income one year that you need expenses to set that off so you don't have to pay so much taxes on your income that you made, then that's the one time that you would look at that. What I usually do is anything under $100, I just expense it out. You don't have to depreciate anything under $100. If you have like a roof or something, an improvement like a roof or something else big like that, you can separate that out as an asset and basically have depreciate that over a faster amount of time. The one thing to state though is not that you're going to get more depreciation expenses doing it this way. You're just going to get your depreciation expenses faster, but in the end it's going to be the same number. So I guess in a way you get more money depreciating assets faster because of the time value of money, basically. So if you can take your expenses sooner, they're more valuable than if you can take the expenses later, because the value of money decreases over time, technically, due to inflation and all this other stuff. So if you're just a small time investor and you just have like one vacation rental, it doesn't really make any sense. It doesn't make that much sense to do it that way. But if you really like playing with numbers and you like doing taxes, and most importantly, most people don't do their taxes, so they have to ask a CPA to do that. It's a lot of work for them, and they cost money too. The last CPA that has ever worked for me, I paid him $100 an hour. It's a lot of money. So I mean, is it really worthwhile? You have to kind of average it out to do all of that work, or is it just useful to just keep folding all of the assets into your property and expense it over the lifetime of the actual real estate, which is 29.5 years. And if you're planning to sell the real estate soon, then might as well just expense it with the rest of the real estate, because otherwise you're just wasting your time and money. It's not really worth it, quite honestly. Also, you kind of are prone to expose yourself to audits by the IRS also, because that's just another thing that they can check up on to see if you did it right on your tax return. And there's not really any questions if you fold it all into one big thing and one big heap, like the whole entire real estate asset. But if you start expensing separate things out separately, it doesn't really make much sense. And plus you have to have a lot of small assets like that to separate out. So personally, my opinion, it's not really worth it to do that. I've done that for a couple years for some of my properties, but I found out that it's really not worth it. Unless you're getting something big done, like a roof, which can cost several thousands of dollars, or you get like a new air conditioning heating system, or you get your house rewired, or you get plumbing replaced, something big like that, I wouldn't do it for small stuff like a fridge or a stove. It's not worth it. Just add that to the cost basis of the entire real estate and expense it out over 29.5 years. So anyways, I'm going to make a video about this on the blackboard where I can actually explain it with numbers and a pen and drawing, because people tend to see that better and like it better and understand it better. And I'm going to incorporate that into one of my future audiobooks that I'm working on. Actually have contemplated to make an audiobook for easy math and tax questions for real estate investors. This would be a really good one to put into that audiobook, because that's kind of where that topic lies, and I have several others where people have asked me, depreciation related questions, tax related questions, and questions related to just the finance side of real estate investing. So bear with me. Go to my website, juliamspencer.com, subscribe there, and I hope to see you investing very successfully soon.
For your free guide to real estate investing, visit juliamspencer.com.